first and second paragraph. Just briefly.
Read what?
The second paragraph.
Jesus was always building his ministry for the time when the disciple would have to take over his work and go out into the world with the redeeming gospel. This plan was progressively made clear as they followed him. The patience with which Jesus brought this out of his disciples reflects on his consideration for their ability to learn. He was never premature in his insistence on action. The first invitation to the disciples to follow him said nothing about going out and evangelizing the world, although this was his plan from the beginning. His method was to get the disciples into a vital experience with God and to show them how he worked before telling them they had to do it.
All right. Yeah, what Jesus was doing actually is calling somebody. He was not calling to assign immediately to work, but he was doing the work while the person who called was serving. You know, when Jesus was calling the disciples, he doesn't give the title. He just says, follow me. In other words, see what I'm doing. In a particular time, you'll be doing exactly. So he was just calling them. And then he does the work. He showed them how to do it. As he progressed. Later on, at the end, he understood the work. Let's keep going on that.
On the other hand,
let's go to briefing instructions. It's going to be on page 73. Briefing instructions.
Briefing instruction. Before letting them go, however, Jesus gave them some briefing instruction regarding their mission. What he said to them on this occasion is very important to this study because, in a sense, he outlined for them explicitly what he had been teaching implicitly all the time. He first reaffirmed his purpose for their life. They were to go and preach the kingdom of God and to heal the sick.
Thank you. Now, he's assigning the work. After all this time, he's assigning the work. Let's keep going. I want us to jump again. Let's go to page, follow his methods. Follow his methods. It's going to be page 74. As I told you, I'm rushing through this book.
Follow his methods. The plan of Jesus is even more specific to his disciples in his instruction to find some friendly person in each town they visit and there live as long as they continue their evangelistic work in the area. Into whatsoever city or village you shall enter, search out who in it is worthy, and there abide till ye go forth. Matthew 10:11, Mark 6:10, Luke 9:4. In effect, the disciples were told to concentrate their time on the most promising individual in each town who would thereby be able to follow up their work after they had gone. This was to receive priority over everything else. In fact, if they could not find someone who would take them in, they were specifically instructed to shake off the dust on their feet as a testimony against them.
Yeah, stop there, my brother. After he had signed the work, the disciples went to a village or a neighbor. If you want to win the neighbor, identify an individual who is interested in that neighbor. That's a strategic plan. Once you identify that particular person, try to win that person. If you go to third world countries, there are some, I wish I can say that. There are some people who are respected because people are living in community. The reason why they live in community is because of poverty. You live together so that if you don't have, I can help. You know, if I don't have, you can help. They are together just for the reason of poverty. But if you see that in that particular group, there's someone who is respected. He is considered a leader of a particular community. When you get there, bring that particular unit. Because Once you reach that person, you are written down easily. That's what Jesus was instructing the disciples.
All right.
Let's go to divine, where was it? Expect the hardships. Just briefly, again.
Expect hardship. The fact that some people would refuse the disciple ministry only accentuated Jesus' warning of the treatment they could expect to receive. Beware of men, for they will scourge you. Yea, and before governors and kings shall ye be brought for my sake, for a testimony to them and to the Gentiles. Matthew 10:17 through 18.
Yes. On that, just reading, what you are seeing there is that once you go to a that particular community, not everybody will respect you.
All right.
Not everybody will receive you. Some will reject you.
Yeah.
Same thing to our essentials. When we go to a particular community, don't expect to be received just like a gift. Some will reject you. Some will give you hard time. Let's keep going. Let's go to dividing the gospel.
A dividing gospel. It is significant, too, that Jesus reminded them of the decisive nature of the gospel invitation. There could be no compromise with sin, and for this reason, anyone holding out on God was sure to be disturbed by their preaching. They were not handshaking emissaries maintaining the status quo of complacency. Rather, Jesus said, "Think not that I came to send peace on the earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I came to set a man at a variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household." He that
Let's go to one with Christ. I think that one is
okay. One with Christ.
Yes.
The point Jesus made in all of these instructions was that the mission of the disciples was not different in principle or method from his own. He began by giving them his own authority and power to do his work in Mark 6 and 7, Matthew 10 and 1, and Luke 9 and 1. And he closed by assuring them that what they were doing was as though he was doing it himself. He that receiveth you receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me. Matthew 10 and 40 and John 13 and 20. Think of this identity. The disciples were to be the actual representatives of Christ as they went forth. So clear was this association that if someone, even a child, a cup of cold water in the name of a disciple, that act of mercy would be rewarded. Matthew 10 and 42.
Yeah, in fact,